So it's Tuesday, the 23rd of August, and we've had a green day, which is a considerable improvement on yesterday. We had a massive drawdown yesterday, a big red day, probably the biggest red day of the year for sure. And we just we didn't want to exacerbate that by having consecutive red days. So we've had a small green day. We've managed to make 1,300 in trade profit today, just over 1,300 in trade profit today. Traded 4 stocks, and 3 of them didn't go our way. So it looked at one stage like we were going to add to the drawdown. And then NRDY, which is the 4th stock we traded, we got news of the CEO buying 5 million shares at a premium price. And that saw the stocks, sent the stock soaring. So we made over $2,000 on NRDY, and that brought us green on the day. We did trade a couple of other things. So we traded the new AMC stock APE. We traded Indonesian Energy, INDO, and we traded GCT again, which is the recent IPO. And we lost on all of those. So NRDY was the only one that came good for us, and I'll walk you through the trades as I took them, and you can let me know your thoughts in the comments below. So we started off. First thing we traded was APE, and we watched this pop up, and then as it came down, we looked to get in for a bounce on the VWAP. It kind of didn't bounce on the VWAP and went the opposite direction. So we got out for a quick loss. It was about $800, I think. It was the loss on APE. We didn't really get the move that we were looking for, so we just cut our losses very, very quickly. We got in at 693. We got out at 682. So it's a little over 10 cents on the share. So that put us down a little bit. We did try and trade this again a little bit later, and we recouped half of the gains that we'd lost, and we finished the day on a little bit under $300 in the red. We then traded Indonesian Energy. Now, Indonesian Energy was one of the big movers on the day, and we traded it here across this piece here, and we ended up losing. So on this big move up, we got a little bit up here, and then we took big size as it broke out, and on the way back down, we exited the position for a loss. We were at this stage, we're about just over $8,000 in the hole. I walked away. We'd only traded two stocks at this stage on the main account. I did trade on the small account as well, but that's a separate recap. I'll let you go and check that out. But we were about $8,000 down. It came back down to the VWAP, and then it started to make its move up again. So we got back in when I came back. We got it back in here, and we managed to get some profits here. And then a little bit later in the day, we traded it again here, and as we broke over the VWAP, we got in here and rolled this up here. So Indonesian Energy, we still finished down on the day, but rather than 8,000 down, we were $250, $260 down. So that, in my book, was a big difference to the 8,000. The reason I traded this one, we saw this almost a double bottom, if you will, the W shape. It did get a little bit spoiled, so that spoiled the pattern. I was looking for a double shape off this. But when it broke the VWAP, it broke it with some momentum. It did pull back, and we got in here. So we didn't get a huge amount, but you know, we covered most of the losses there. Then we traded NRDY, and NRDY, we got news that NRDY was moving up on the back of the CEO of the company buying 5 million shares. It popped up, hit the momentum scanners, and we got in here. We rode it up, took profits, exited the position, and then as it came back down again, when we broke new highs here, we got back in, and we were able to ride this up all the way this time up to the top. So we managed to get $2,000 out of this, and good trade. This pretty much saved our bacon on the day. This got us green on the day, and green to four figures. So not quite at goal, but after such a big drawdown yesterday, I wasn't too worried about that. We did see that GCT was moving up. We got it hit the momentum scanners a little bit later in the day, and then so we tried to get in, shall I say, for a little bit of momentum. As it hit the momentum scanners, we got in. Spreads, as usual with this one, were quite big, so we got in here, and it moved up. Didn't quite cover our spread, so when it started to move back down again, I exited the position, and we lost a little over $400 on this one, and it sold off into the close. But GCT probably will be going on my no trade list until I start seeing some decent movements upwards. It's just not one that trades easily. So yeah, that essentially is what we did today. A green day, a relatively quiet green day in terms of volatility. It was really choppy. The markets overall, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the Dow Jones Industrial, all of these markets, the Russell index, which is particular relevance given it's a small cap index, and that's what I like to trade. They were all very sideways, choppy, slightly up, slightly down, but the movement across the day was very choppy sideways. And when the markets are like that, you tend to find that there's not a huge amount of volatility, and that's what we're struggling with today. The lack of volatility, the lack of volume on the stocks that did move, and the stocks that did have volume. There was some steady gaining stocks, but very few were moving with volatile movements that you could take advantage of. So difficult days trading today, but we're green. And so where does that put us on the month? Well, let's take a look, shall we? Okay, so just imported my trades here for today, and you can see. Let's go to the reports. In terms of the month, where are we? Detailed reports. So we're $300 away from hitting goal on the month. We still have 7 trading days left after today. So we've got 3 days this week, 3 days next week. So that's actually 6 days, 6 trading days left after today, and not 7. So unfortunately, we're running out of time, but we only have to make $300. I'm pretty sure I can make $300 worth of profit in the next 6 trading days. So we're in a good place on the month. I'm a little bit, despondent on because of yesterday, the big drawdown yesterday, that we could have been in so much better place. And we were looking at the beginning of yesterday, we were looking at $5,000 to have our best ever trading month. If I'd just not taken a trade yesterday and then come in and traded today as is, then we'd have been looking for $3,500 for our best ever trading month. So look, ifs, buts and maybes, shoulda, coulda, woulda, all of that kind of stuff. I've still got to kind of zoom out and take a look at what we're doing, but we're nearly 100,000. My goal for every month is $100,000, and we're pretty much at that right now. So I can't complain too much. My net profit needs a little bit of work, so I still need to make some gains in the next 6 days to get to the goal. I need to be at the end of this month. I need to be at $666,000. In terms of net profit. So it's like effectively 2/3 of that 7-figure number, given that this is month 8. So right now I'm looking at my net numbers, and I'm currently 645. So I've not put, that doesn't include today, so 646. So we're not too far away. We're about $20,000 net away from the net goal to be 2/3 of the way through the year. So I'm not too worried about my yearly goal. We're on track. We're not far off. We're not far off that. If I go back to my statistics here, 61 to 37 in terms of accuracy. Really, it's 3 to 2. It's 2 to 1, but not high 2 to 1. Across the year, I'm doing a little bit better. 362 versus 262. So, quite frankly, that needs a little bit of work. Flat today. A little bit of a gain on today in terms of the equity curve. So this huge drawdown is still remains. If you look at the cumulative drawdown, it still remains. We still have to come out of that drawdown, but we can do that in time. I'd like to get rid of that drawdown by the end of the month, but only if the trades permit. So we're in a good place on the month. Happy with the average daily gains of if I can maintain those kind of daily gains going forward, $5,000 a day for the next 6 days is $30,000. It won't cover the drawdown, but it'll cover half of the drawdown, and then we can take the break in September, come back in September, and look to kick on from there. So all in all, not too bad a day in terms of it wasn't red. It is one of those days where it's difficult to trade, so you just want to get green and stay green. Unfortunately, I went red and I just didn't want to stay red, so I managed to trade myself out of that hole with the movement primarily from NRDY, but I managed to get back most of the losses on Indonesian energy as well. I could have tried holding a little bit longer on GCT, and that would have gone absolutely the wrong direction for me. So cutting losses early is key. You can, if you cut your losses early, if you manage your risk like that, when it doesn't go your way, if you're cutting your losses early, you can have 3 trades that go against you, and then that 4th trade really motors, and still finish profitable on the day. And that's pretty much what happened to me today. 3 trades went against me, and then that 4th one really motored, and we made profits on that. And that's where the day's gain comes from. You only need that 1 trade a day. 1 trade a day is enough, provided that it's the right one. So be patient, wait for the right setups. Don't jump in there just because something is moving. Wait for the setup, wait for the entry signals, and then pay mind to the exit signals. I didn't early trading Indonesian energy. I entered at a high. A double top. I entered for the on the formation of the double top on the 2nd peak, the devil horns, if you will, because we'd already had one wick up, and I was just oblivious. I didn't even see it until I'd actually entered, and as soon as I'd entered, I realised I've just entered on an exit signal. So that was part of one of the first things that I lost money on with Indonesian energy, entering on an exit signal. Not a good idea. So yeah, just be disciplined. Just be disciplined. That's my plan for the rest of this month, is to be disciplined, trade small until the trades permit to scale in, and just small base hits. I'm not going to swing for the fences for the rest of this month. I'm just going to small base hits, get to the 5K daily, and quit for the day. I could trade in the small account, look for gains there. In terms of the large account, the main account, I just want to protect the position I'm in right now, pretty much at goal. I just want to build on that. I do not want to be finishing less than 100K trade profit this month when I've been over that number. Well, the first week I was over 100K and I gave a bit back, and then the second week I got over, gave some back, and it's a repeating trade. So I need to maintain that now going forward. So if you're joining me live, just keep me disciplined. Shout at me through the chat. I know I can't hear you, but screen in caps if you need to. If you see me taking unnecessary big size or unnecessary risks or holding on to a loser too long, scream at me in the chat, and I will welcome your assistance on that, just to keep me disciplined and keep me trading to my strategy. So in the meantime, I'll be back at it tomorrow morning, 90 minutes before the market opens for pre-market trading. We will, of course, trade the first hour of the market open after the bell, but 90 minutes before the market opens, which is 8 a.m. market time, New York, East Coast, if you will. It's 1 p.m. here in Dublin, in Ireland, 1 p.m. in the UK, 2 p.m. on the continent of Europe. If you live anywhere else, then work it out. Google is your friend, and I'll see you tomorrow at 90 minutes before the market opens, and we'll be doing it all again. Look forward to seeing you there.